Hello, I'm Nari McDiarmid for miningnews.net, and it's great to be speaking again with Frazer Tabeart, the Managing Director of Alma Metals. And Frazer, before we get into the recent expansion at your key copper project in Queensland, can you provide a quick overview of Alma Metals?
Sure, yeah. So Alma is an ASX listed explorer, and we're focusing on copper projects in Australia. So our flagship is the large Briggs copper and molybdenum porphyry deposit in Queensland. And people have asked us, why are we focusing on copper and why just in Australia? And I guess it's really simple. We've got a very firm view on the long-term fundamentals of copper as part of the sort of the global energy transition. And we're much more comfortable operating in tier one jurisdictions where you know what the rules are, and the fiscal regime isn't likely to change. So copper and Australia, and listed on the ASX.
Well, Fraser, I mentioned briefly the expansion at Briggs. You're acquiring two more tenements, so you obviously like the look of the area. Can you outline the highlights of this Briggs project?
Sure, yeah. So Briggs is a joint venture that we have. We've currently got a 30% project interest in that, and we can increase that to 70% through spending money in the ground. It is a large project. It's a porphyry copper molybdenum style of mineralisation. It crops out at surface, so that's quite important. It means we have the opportunity there potentially in the future for low cost, large scale open pit mining. It's very large. There's over 400 million tonnes of mineralisation that's already been defined. That means it contains over 1 million tonnes of copper metal, and about 28 million pounds of molybdenum. So it's well inside the top 10 of largest undeveloped copper projects in Australia. Over 2,000 metres in strike length, mineralisation down to 500 metres. So good geometry for low cost mining. And early work on the metallurgy has been very encouraging. It would appear that we can get very good recoveries at commercially viable concentrate grades. Obviously, we need to do more work on that, but certainly there are no red flags in terms of recovery or grade or deleterious elements. And finally, it's got fantastic infrastructure. I mean, we're only 60 kilometres to the west of Gladstone, so you couldn't get a better project location. All the infrastructure that you're going to need for development is pretty much there.
Well, slightly away from the project level, Fraser, what would you like people to understand about Alma Metals' management team?
Well, I guess probably three key things here. Firstly, we do have in-house porphyry copper expertise. Management has worked previously with large mining and exploration companies looking at porphyry coppers. So there's certainly some technical skills there that we bring to bear. Secondly, parts of our management team have done this before. We have developed mining operations in Australia, particularly in Queensland and South Australia. And I guess the third sort of piece of the jigsaw puzzle is, management for Alma is also involved as part of the management team for Caravel Minerals. And Caravel is developing a very large, similar style of copper deposit in Western Australia. And that's currently at definitive feasibility study stage. So there's a lot of information that, we can just from corridor conversations, we get access to sort of what's the cutting edge of developing, large scale, low to moderate grade copper deposits. So, that'll speed things up for us when we get into study mode ourselves.
Well, in terms of 2024, which is just getting into gear, what's Alma's focus for this year?
Obviously, the key for us is pushing Briggs further forward. So, probably the main thing we want to do is get some metrics on the project. That means we need to do two things. We need to do more drilling. We've been very encouraged by recent results that are showing that there is a sort of a margin of higher grade around the edge of the deposit as we move out into the country rocks. So we want to do more drilling on that. That'll improve the resource confidence and get the project to predominantly the indicated resource stage. And then that gives us the information that we need to go into a scoping study. So, what we want to do before the end of this year is get numbers on the project so that we can start comparing it to Caravel and other deposits around the world so that people understand, what's the true scale and the true potential value of this project.
Well, although you don't have those numbers in hand yet, obviously, Fraser, what do you see as the key investment highlights for Alba Metals?
Yeah, so we've got plenty of news flow in the first, 1 to 2 quarters of this year with assays from the recently completed drilling program. We expect to then go straight into further drilling as part of that, indicated resource drilling, and then moving into scoping studies. So there's going to be consistent news flow throughout the entire year. We think this is a breakout year for copper as well. There's already clear indications of that in the toll treating or refining charges have dropped to almost all-time lows. So that's suggesting that this is going to be a great year for copper, and we're going to be delivering lots of great news around copper into that thesis.
Well, Fraser, lots to keep an eye out for, and it's great to speak with you again.
Thanks, Nari. Always a pleasure.